Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to Laughbox.
Laughbox, the podcast for the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. And now, here's your host, Chip Lutz.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the podcast. This is Chip Lutz, the unconventional leader. And today, man, it is so cool that I got to talk to this guy right here, Mr. Alan Klein, because when I was working on my master's way back when in the dark ages, his book, The Healing Power of Humor, helped me through the whole thing, helped me write my thesis. I might have even plagiarized him. I don't know. But then a few years later, I got to actually meet him in person. I was like, what? I get to meet Alan Klein. And then since then, we become pretty good friends. When I'm in San Francisco, I get to see him. When I'm at the AATH conference, we get to hang out a little bit. So I'm really glad to spend a little time with Alan Klein. Welcome, my friend, to the podcast.
It is great to see you virtually again or hear your voice. Thank you.
Same here, my friend. Same here. Now, obviously, we've spent a lot of time together. I know you. I've drinking vodka at your house. But for our listeners,
and in restaurants.
And in restaurants, this is true. Yes.
And at conferences.
Yes. But for our listeners, if you could give them a little bit about who Mr. Alan Klein, this man of mystery, is.
Well, officially, I am the world's only jollytologist. And I show people how to get more humor and positivity in their life. 25 words or less. And I do that through speaking and a lot through my writing of my, 30 some odd books.
30. I was going to say, I thought it was 572 because you've got a lot of books out there. And when I was going through the list, I was like, man, I didn't realize that you had so many books, but you've got a lot of books that you put out.
I do, and I can give you a trade secret, but don't tell anyone else. Some of them are reprints with new publishers, new formats, new forwardists, so they're kind of a new book with old information, actually. But I'd say more than half are at least new books, yes.
Well, they're all good. Like I said, some of them were major major influences in my life on how I looked at different things. So for that, I thank you, my friends, because you are a force to be reckoned with in so many different ways. So I'm really excited to talk to you about your new book today, because I enjoyed going through it, and I know my listeners will love to hear about it. But before we get into our conversation, I'm just going to ask you a random question. Has nothing to do with our conversation. So, you're originally from New York, yes?
Yes, born in Manhattan.
Manhattan. What do you miss most about living in New York?
Oh, just top of the line Broadway shows. Travel companies are not as good. They're good, but I always think if you have a walk-on part in New York City, Broadway, you are the best actor in the world, maybe, for that walk-on part.
Really?
It's just, I think that's my opinion.
That's interesting.
London and New York are the two big live theater venues, and I grew up on Broadway shows, and so every time I go to New York, I see a show a night. So it's usually 6-7 shows a week to get my fill. So that's what I miss.
Wow. See, what's funny is that it was nothing about food, because a lot of times I ask people what they miss most about where they, used to live. It's always about food, but you're like, no, it's about the culture. I love that. That is so Alan Klein.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, well, food is great in New York City, but Chip, you have to remember, I live in San Francisco,
Right.
where the food is also just so incredible.
It is.
we shared a Chinese meal together once. It was just kind of an ordinary Chinese restaurant, but food was pretty decent.
I put on
So
10. I put on 10 pounds every
yeah,
time I go to San Francisco.
I can see why. Although now everything's closed, so we got to wait about. Now's the time to lose weight when you come here, if you
Oh,
come here.
yeah. I don't know. I would still get like clam chowder in a bread bowl. Yes, with lump crab on top. Mm. Mm. I don't even want to talk
Mm,
about it because
mm.
I'm salivating. Anyway, we're going to talk about your new book, The Awe Factor, which I'm really excited about. So let's just start there. I mean, what spurred you to put this new book together? Because it's something that I had never thought about before. The whole concept of awe. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I just first want to talk about what was the impetus for you putting it together?
Right. First, because people cannot see the book unless you post it. The word awe is AWE, not OR or ORE or however else you spell it. AWE. And the reason I'd never thought of it before either, but as I get older, I was starting to look at all the times in my life, Chip, that um, I felt like I couldn't explain what happened. It was like it blew me away, it took my breath away.
Mm-hmm.
It floored me sometimes, that, oh my God, how did that happen? That kind of thing. And I thought, I've had a lot of those in my life, and I think other people do too, but they probably don't realize it. And so I wanted to write a book that would share those kind of all moments in my life, to tell people the new research on awe, which is incredible. I think awe is the new happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And also to give them ideas of how they can get more awe in their life so they could be happier. And as the research is finding, healthier. So once I get an idea for a book, I just start, putting all that together and interviewing other people and asking for their awe moments, which then I read those or listen to those, and I'm blown away by what happened to them. And so I just started to put this book together, and it actually came together pretty easy. Not many books on the subject, but lots of incredible stories that I wanted to share with people of how things happen in our life, and we don't pay much attention to them sometimes, or pay attention to life itself. And so that's what this book is, for all kinds of people and all kinds of awe experiences.
So I like that, and I think you kind of laid out the format for our discussion on looking at awe, some of the maybe the research and some of the stories. I think that I like that you've kind of laid that out. So let's just talk about how you describe what awe is.
Well, this was a real shocker when I started to write about it. I thought, well, I better know the definition. Actually, the person that helped me push me along in this idea is I had lunch with my former literary agent, and I told him this idea I had for this book, and he said he wasn't actually too excited about it. He said, because what is awe? He asked me what awe is, and I thought, I try to explain it, and I just went on, and then I thought, I got to look this up. What is awe? And I was shocked when I looked in the dictionary, because the main definition of awe was reverence mixed with fear and wonder.
Really?
And I thought, fear, because I looked back at some of my stuff, it had some fear, but mostly it did not.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about, okay, a lightning thunderstorm. I don't know about you, but as a kid, when it would lightning thunder, I would get under the blanket.
Mm-hmm.
It was scary. That noise, those lights in the sky, and they're also incredible, right? It's an awe moment when you see that lightning. So there it was fear, and there it was wonder. And then I was talking to someone else, and he said, well, he grew up Catholic, strict Catholic, and the nuns put a lot of fear into him. So again, that was
God is
all.
love. God is love. They're beating him with the ruler.
Right, right. and then they smack you over the head.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but so I realized that that was one kind of awe, but my kind of awe was more like when you can't explain something that happens.
Mhm.
It's like comes from like a higher power, and that was the conclusion I actually got after writing the book. That awe was something that had the divine somehow attached to it, something we can't explain. So often people will say, "Oh my God!" I mean, right there. It's something that overwhelms you. And so for me, that's the definition. And uh, of awe. It knocks my socks off, can't explain it, took my breath away, oh my God, that kind of experience. So for me, that may not be the dictionary definition, but it's certainly my definition. And I think a definition for a lot of other people
I like that,
also.
and I like that you included the divine in that, because I think a lot of times we can negate the aspect in our lives that I don't want to call them mini miracles, but these little things that happen in our lives that certainly we can't explain, but um, they go beyond what we can understand. Is that kind of what you're saying? That certainly there's something
Yeah,
else.
or
There's
else,
something
yeah,
else involved.
gives us goosebumps sometimes. I can give you some quick, really examples. I was hiking in Yosemite up the mountain to Vernal Falls, and coming down the mountains was somebody I didn't recognize, but he goes, "Alan?" And I look, and I don't know who it is. And I go over, and he said, "I'm John. I was an apprentice of yours when you designed summer stock 40 years ago."
Wow.
And that kind of on top of on top of the mountain in Yosemite. And I'm thinking, what are those chances? Now, some people would say, "Oh, that's coincidence," but what are those chances? That's got to be an all moment.
Hmm.
How did just that split second? I'm going up, he's coming down, he recognizes me. I could have, if he didn't recognize me, we would have just passed each other.
Hmm.
Then again, I go to Paris, I take a little nap, I go outside to get some fresh air, after I've landed, gotten my hotel and stuff. There's a friend of mine sitting at a cafe having coffee right around the corner. Had no idea he was going to be in Paris. He had no idea I was going to be there.
Yeah.
What are those chances of something like that happening?
Right. Yeah.
So for me, those I call them mini awe moments.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I was just sharing this morning a story about where I was, Gwen and I, and my wife Gwen and I, we're going to DC, and we were landing, and
Oh
just
yeah,
by
yeah.
chance, I called my mom and dad, and it's like, oh hey, we're going this before my dad passed away. We're going, we're flying into DC. We're gonna do this, and I had no idea if my mom and dad were on a bus trip, with their church, in DC. And we got to spend the whole next day. I had nothing planned on my calendar the next day, so we spent the whole next day going through Mount Vernon with my dad and my mom. Well, before my dad got really, really sick. And it was one of the best times I'd had with my parents as an adult. And,
Right.
I didn't design that. I didn't plan it. It was just, I like, I hadn't called my mom and dad for a while. I should probably give them a call, let them know where I'm at. And it was just one of those things where things came together that I hadn't planned, that ended up being one of the best memories I have as an adult with my parents. Would that be
Right.
an all
Yeah,
moment?
I think it's an all moment. And for me, things like that are divine interventions. Um, I had a book signing for one of my previous books, and I was going to be using PowerPoint, and it's here in the city. So I thought, well, I'll just go in the afternoon. The book signing was in the evening. I'll go in and just check the PowerPoint, just to make sure it's working, and they have the right equipment and stuff. And I go in, and there's a woman at the counter crying, crying her, what I don't know the expression, but just totally in tears.
Hmm.
And I wait, but I don't want to interrupt. And this is going on for like 10, 15 minutes. And it so happened that her husband died a couple of days before. She came in the
Mm,
bookshop to get a book on grief. And she was claiming that the clerk was not very nice to her. And so I waited and waited. And finally, there was a little opening. And I went over and I said, I used to be a hospice volunteer and I lost my wife. And would you like to talk? And I took her aside and we chatted for at least a half hour, maybe longer. And she went on her way, and the owner of the bookstore, who was behind the counter when the woman was crying and had no idea what to say, thanked me profusely. And I realized when I left the store, I wasn't sent there to check the PowerPoint that afternoon. I was sent there to help that woman.
uh-huh.
And again, I see that as, divine intervention. More than ever, I think we're at places we need to be, and we somehow don't know sometimes why we're there. And this was one of those, again, an all moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're there just to be there, but other times there's certainly other reasons. And, we don't understand it until afterwards. And I like that you brought that out. Now, you brought it before on how, like, you said that awe is the new happiness. What did you mean by that?
Well, for I don't know, long time now, at least I've been seeing a lot of research, certainly a lot of books on how to be happier.
Right.
And I've not seen anything about awe, bringing awe into the mix.
Hmm.
And what I think the latest research in awe is mostly began about 8 years ago, so it's fairly new.
Hmm.
And what they're finding, there's a number of scientific things about why we need to find more awe in our life. Um, but one of those that I really like is they did experiments with seniors who are very depressed, not very, but often depressed and often anxious. And they took them on walks every day. And one group, they asked that group to find something that awed them, or they found something amazing on the walk.
Hmm.
And the other group, they didn't ask that. And they did this for a period of 8 weeks. And after 8 weeks, they found that the group that were asked to find the awe on their walks
Hmm.
had less depression and were less anxious.
Really?
And I thought we could, we'd have to be a senior actually to do that. If when we go out in a day, for the day, wherever we are, to stop for a moment and look for something that amazes us, brings us awe. And
Yes.
and the other thing that dovetail into that I thought was amazing, and we could all do this, is you did not have to go into nature to find something or to get the benefits of awe. If you just have a photo or a picture that awes you of nature where in your house, and you look at that throughout the day, that can bring you some of those same helpful benefits.
Interesting.
So here's two very simple things people could do to bring more balance and less anxiety. And we're certainly living in an age of anxiety right now, but help bring less of it into their life.
What's interesting about that to me is that, that so many times in life we just get so used to our backgrounds. We don't pay attention to what's going around us, or um, what flowers that might be blooming or snow that may be falling. We're just kind of going through the motions. We're solely focused on the things we have to do. But if we take that moment out and just maybe appreciate some of the amazing things that are happening around us, that from what you said, that can change our complete outlook and actually better our health as well. I mean, I like that. because it's just so
Yeah.
easy to discount so many things, so many amazing things that happen in our lives that sometimes we just are completely oblivious to because we're worried about sending the next email or making the next phone call, or I got to get this report in. Just taking that moment out. And I also like the fact that we can, you don't have to go outside and you can just, I don't want to say manufacture, but you can um, uh, make your own awe by, figuring out what you like and put it within the context of where you spend your time. So,
Yeah. And I think one thing that's real important in this, and I do have a TEDx talk on it, the power of intention,
mhm,
is to set your intention. So one thing I did this morning, I thought I'm going to find faces that are not faces. Like I looked at a switch where you plug something in,
yeah.
and oh, I know, it's my rice cooker. I looked at my rice cooker this morning. It's what brought this idea on. And there, what the plug was like two holes and a little thing under it. I don't know, looked like a nose to me,
Mhm,
and a switch to turn it off and on under that, and it looked like a face.
mhm.
So then I'm sitting in my doctor's office this morning, and I look at something on their wall that is not a face, and it looked just like a face to me too. And so throughout the day today, I'm looking for faces that are not faces. um, it's fun. It shows me a little more of the world around me.
Sure.
It helps me set an intention
Mhm.
for just to not just go, as you said, not just go around the world and not notice stuff. It helps me notice stuff.
Well, it keeps you more present in the moment, I would think as well. Yeah, that it's easy not to be here, but it's easy to be other places in yesterday or today. Um, now, what are the differences? Like you alluded to some of the nature things, but can in your book you've got two chapters, one on nature made awe and one on human made awe. So can we talk about those a little bit?
Well, nature is the biggest all getter, I guess.
Hmm.
Most people I certainly interviewed, and I saw some research that when people talk about awe, it's often related to nature. And the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls. Of course, you get the picture immediately. But my point is, we don't need um, to take trips like that. In fact, one of the
Hold
researchers,
on for
one
a
of
minute.
the
Every
first
travel
researchers,
agent in the world's going to hate you right now. So I'm just letting you know. You don't need to go on
sorry,
a trip.
travel agent. I mean, it's nice, but particularly with COVID, you can't, yeah, maybe you can, but do you want to go on trips right now?
Right.
So look around you, and find those awe things. And one researcher, Dasha Keltner, leading researcher in awe, interviewed people from 30 different countries, asking them how often they found awe in their day.
Hmm.
And the average was 2.5 times a day. And I don't think people here, if you'd ask that, would even say once a day. But it's truly around us. I mean, take a flower. If you're near a flower or you have some in your house, really look inside of it. Look. I was in Holland 2 years ago and went to Keukenhof Gardens where they have 7 million tulips.
Wow.
I'm still knocked over by that. I
Yeah.
still see them. 7 million tulips in bloom. We were just there when they were blooming, and each one is so different. And you could look in a red, bright red tulip. If you really look inside, there was a yellow center with a black fringe kind of outline, and the stamens were orange. And I mean, if you look closer at things, even in just in your house, just look closer and you'll find things that you'll go, hey, I've passed that, every day and I didn't notice it. Um, I'm not sure what your question was. I'm not sure I'm answering it, but
No, you hit the
um,
you hit the nature part. I was, that's, yeah, and I think that, like you said,
oh, so yeah. So the second thing people are odd at, most things, is childbirth. And
yes,
again, if you look at a small baby, people are just awed by that. And I remember when my daughter was born, um, I went running after the nurse it was a little after midnight, and running after the nurse who I saw going down the hallway with a bassinet. And I want to see my child. I want to see my child. And she said, "Sir, I'm going to get your child. This bassinet's empty." And I started to laugh, but but we can't like wait to see a baby,
yeah,
or even a pet. I had a puppy a couple of years ago, and somebody who I know who doesn't even live in the city said, "I want to come and see the puppy." There's something that overwhelms us when we see a small child or a small puppy, or just really gets to our heart, I think. And
right.
so that, be around children. Children could bring a lot more awe in your life too.
That's so true. I was there for the birth of all four of my children, and each one
Mhm.
was very awe-inspiring. Where it was just that moment where it's like, wow, it's like it's just a little human. And with my grandkids, they're always inspiring on me. Not just by, just them being, but also in just the way they look at the world, that
Yes,
their
exactly.
worldview is sometimes, it's nice because it's not jaded by the the fact that, like, we get so jaded as grown-ups, but they just see things so sometimes so matter of fact, and like, this is this. I'm like, wow, I just never thought about looking about like that. Maybe it is like that. It's just
Yeah.
the in some ways.
I was in a cafe and my dog was with me, and there was this young, I don't know, 2-year-old, and he was fascinated, had a golden retriever with a big plume kind of tail, and he was fascinated. This young man, boy, was fascinated by this tail moving back and forth, and how it tickled his nose and it went, and the wind coming from it. And he just, for a good 5 minutes, this was his world. Dog's tail. Yeah,
Yeah,
be around kids. Don't have enough awe and wonder in your life. Be around kids.
yeah, certainly see things a little bit differently, and certainly have an appreciation for some of the things we sometimes overlook. That is a fact. Um, so, what are I know that you did a lot of interviews, for your book, and you had a lot of different. What are some of the ones that stuck out to you that were like, oh, you know what? Not to play favorites, obviously, because I know you got Dave's stuff in there too. But what are some of the ones that, like, just like, oh, that really resonated with you? Obviously, you're not going to put anything in your book that didn't resonate with you, but some of those things, like, maybe like shifted your mindset or something, or you're like, oh, I'm so glad I talked to this person because this is something people really need to hear.
Right. Well, a number of them were involved with water. One of them, I
Really?
forget, she was in Ecuador or something, and she was swimming in this, oh, I forget what animal. Maybe it was a turtle. It just followed her wherever she was swimming. It's just, and then was swimming like by her side, and they were like looking at each other. It just another friend who swims in the bay in San Francisco talked about just being one, looking while he's in the water, just looking ahead at the ocean and being one, with the universe,
Hmm.
which is one of the scientific things that all brings us closer to our surroundings, and it also makes us smaller, which makes us more compassionate with other people.
Oh, hold on,
So
hold on,
it's
hold on. I want you to repeat that a minute, because I want you to repeat that because I think that is a key thing for people to remember. That having that moment of awe makes us a little bit smaller and a little more compassionate. Because I think that in today's world, we need more of that. You don't have to repeat it because I just repeated it. I just think that's a key thing to bring
Yeah,
out
no, and it
because,
brings us closer. Several times I've been in Hawaii and people gather at sunset to possibly see a green flash
uh-huh.
when the sun sets. And I looking back, I realize how it brought us all closer together. I don't know the people on either side of me, but if there's a green flash, you all like suddenly bond. It's like you just saw an incredible thing and you start talking to each other. And
Hmm.
even I realized even when there was not a green flash, you start talking to each other like, oh, when did you see a green flash last? And even the non-awe moment created, because you were looking for the all moment, created some bonding.
Yeah, which is a great thing for to think about just in life and connecting with other people, but for families as well. To, go out together as a family and to maybe look for some of those things and have those opportunities to connect. Because so many times we're disconnected because of all the electronics and other stuff we have going on in our lives, that if we take a moment to take a break and look for the awe, maybe we'll have an opportunity to connect a little bit better.
Right. Yeah. And then, what did they, if you, I love what you just said and going out in a group, because if you have the intention of finding awe and someone said, well, I didn't find anything, and then you hear what everyone else found,
Mm-hmm.
that could be very bonding too, and connecting, and maybe even educational. Like, how come they saw we're in the same exact place
Right.
and they saw something that I didn't even see?
Right.
So maybe I need to learn something here
Yeah.
about
As long as
stopping,
it, as
looking.
long as it doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. You're like, man, everybody else saw something. I didn't see anything. What's wrong with me?
Right. Well, but next time you might see something that they
But
don't see. I
you
mean,
might,
we're
yeah,
all
yeah,
individuals.
yeah. Next time you might be a little more aware.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be, yeah, it could be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I like in the third part of your book. I mean, you have a lot of great stuff. The first part, but part three is kind of like the application piece, and I love application because theory is nice, but application is what works. And I like that you broke it
Right.
down. And a lot of things you've already kind of alluded to is the all awakening prescriptions. Stop. Look, and where's the last section here? I just had it in my top of my head.
Listen,
And
stop, look,
listen,
and
stop and
listen.
look and listen, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You give some like good pieces for people to good areas for people to find all in their life, because I think that that's what most people are looking for is hey, how do I this is a great thing, how do I get more of it, what do I need to do? And
yeah.
you laid out so simply of like, hey, this is what you can do, this is where you can look at. Are there some things that you think that in our conversation that we haven't hit on people find a little more awe in their life?
Well, I think put down your cell phone, get away from the computer, stop, look, and listen. And just the other day, I was showering and I thought, well, I try to take my own advice once in a while. I'm gonna just stay in the shower and hear, what does the water sound like?
Hmm.
And what I realized, it sounded like a waterfall when I was in Hawaii.
Really?
And I had never heard that before because I never thought about stopping and listening to the water.
Hmm.
Uh, so listen, um, just look, again, maybe with intention. Last year I took a class where every day we had something to go look for when in our travels during the day. And that day was to find everything heart shaped. And
Really?
I had planted morning glories around my front gate. I walk by, several times a day, that gate, never noticed that the leaves on the morning glory were all heart shaped. So look,
Interesting.
stop,
Yeah.
look, and listen. And
It seems that
stopping,
it seems like some of those aspects are
yeah,
almost all like finding the all in your life is almost an element of mindfulness of really
Exactly.
paying attention to what's going on, and being present in that moment versus just kind of like going through the normal um, uh, uh, motions of life. And I like that, and I like the thought
Yeah.
process of maybe setting an intention of looking for certain things, each day. Like this,
Yeah.
like for your attention for day, seeing faces. Like I don't set my intention to see faces, but I see them a lot when I'm like. I see a pattern on a floor and I'm kind of bored. I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like a weird face. And then I'll point it out to somebody like, I don't
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that. Well, I do. Anyway, but
So I was going to give, you said you like intentional or things to, help people get more of something in their life, like awe and wonder.
mhm.
Get a 3x5 card and put a big letter A on it and just carry that card around. And every time you see the card, if it's in your uh, pocket or wherever it is, if you just feel it, realize that, okay, stop, look and listen, look for that awe, wonder at that moment. And I think it'll help you uh, find, find, find what you're looking for, find more awe in your life. And the reason to do that is what science is showing, that you could be happier, healthier, connecting more to other people in the universe.
Nice. I like that. And that's so simple too. Index card with an A on it, because you can put it in your car, where you see it. If you spend a lot of time in your car, you can put it on
Yeah.
your mirror when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, just as a reminder before you start your day. That's something really easy and easy to do. You could even make it your backdrop on your phone. So when you pick up your phone, there's a big A on there instead of a picture or something.
Ooh, great idea. I didn't think of that. Yes.
Because that's where most people look most often is like, at their phone. So if I just have an A on there, it's like, oh, I'm not going to look at Facebook. I'm going to look for the awe and wonder in my life. I like that. And I think that I'm going to do that as soon as we get off
Right.
this call. Now, if people want to find your book, they want to get them some more Alan Klein, where do they need to go?
Well, of course, the big Amazon has it. Barnes and Noble has it. They have all my books. So just go on there and put in my name, but you got to spell it right. ALLENKLEIN. And if you come up with books about the Beatles manager, that's not me. We share the name. We do share the name. He is dead. I'm alive.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that you guys shared the name. And I will put a plug in for all
Oh,
of
yeah.
Alan's books for anybody that's listening. I don't think you can go wrong with any of Alan's books. How many years has your first book been on the market? I know I bought it back in
89, the first book came out.
yeah,
89.
yeah. I bought my first copy in must have been 98. But I have since received an autographed copy from Mr. Alan Klein, which I have next to the other one, but the one that's autographed is obviously a little more special. But yeah, I would recommend anybody to go to his author page and get any of his books, because they're all very good. And this one too is just as good. And I love that it's so rich, and you brought so many other people in to share their stories as well. Because it's one thing to have your opinion, but you bring the science in, but you bring other people's experiences in too, which I think is it's a great combo to give the book a lot of depth that so many books today are kind of missing, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
absolutely. Now, if we were really at happy hour, having a drink, me and you, which we have done before, after a couple, I might give you a little drunk dare. But since we're not, I'm just going to ask you a few random questions for my overstuffed Would You Rather book. Mr. Alan Klein, are you game for 3 questions?
I am game for
All
the
right.
$64,000 question.
All right. I will apologize in advance because I never know where the book's going to open to, and they all are random. All right. Would you, Alan, I'm not, I'm going to go ahead and ask you this question. Would you rather shave your mom's bikini line or your dad's butt?
Oh my God. Do I have to answer?
Not really.
I'll
It's
choose A.
okay. All right. There we go.
A.
All right. Second question, Mr. Alan Klein. Would you rather never have people take you seriously or always have people think that you are no fun?
I'll choose A again.
All right. Last question. Last question. Would you rather eat a head of rotten cabbage or drink a glass of sour milk?
Oh, sour milk. It's like what is it? Buttermilk? Or what is it called?
Chunky cottage cheese. I
I,
don't
I
know.
used to drink it in the summer.
Did you
What
really?
is it? It's almost like liquid yogurt.
Liquid
There's a name
yogurt.
for it.
I don't know what it is.
I think it's called buttermilk, but I'm not. That doesn't sound right. I don't know.
It doesn't sound right to
Anyhow,
me either,
the
but
second one.
I'm with you because I don't think I could do the rotten cabbage. Anyway, my friend, always a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much for taking some time out to share your book with me. It's given me a lot of things to think about, a lot of things that I can actually implement in my life. And I know that my listeners will get a lot from it as well.
Great. And Chip, you are awesome.
Well, thank you, my friend. You are as well.
Thanks for listening to Laughbox. If you'd like to learn more about AATH, visit our website at www.aath.org or email the host at chip@unconventionalleader.com. And if you'd like to be particularly awesome, leave us a review on iTunes. Or tell your friends about how awesome the podcast is, unless you didn't think it was awesome. And then just keep it your little secret. Or tell them it was awesome and then laugh to yourself about how you're going to be wasting an hour of their time while you're out doing something productive, like handing out heads of cabbage at a Miley Cyrus concert. Thanks again for listening, and may the farce be with you.